Have you ever looked up at the moon and wondered what secrets it holds? Tonight, we're not just looking at any moon, we're witnessing the rise of the blood moon, a celestial event that once foretold the end of a dark era and the dawn of a new king. This is the story of how Simba, under the crimson glow of that fateful moon, finally shattered the shadow of Scar. After Scar's reign began, the Pride Lands, once vibrant and full of life, withered into a desolate wasteland. The circle of life was broken. The herds had fled, the rivers ran dry, and a permanent gloom hung over the land, a mirror of the darkness in Scar's heart. He ruled not with wisdom, but with an iron claw, his cackling hyena minions enforcing his tyranny. For the lionesses, led by the proud and defiant Serabi, every day was a struggle for survival, a desperate wait for a miracle. Far away, in a lush jungle paradise, Simba lived a carefree life. With his friends Timon and Pumbaa, he had embraced the philosophy of Hakuna Matata. No worries. The past was a distant memory, a nightmare he chose to forget. He was happy, or so he told himself. But even in paradise, the ghost of his father, Mufasa, and the life he left behind would whisper to him in the rustling leaves, in the starry night sky. He was a prince in exile, oblivious to the suffering of his kingdom. The winds of change began to stir when Nala, his childhood friend, stumbled into his jungle haven. She was no longer the playful cub he remembered. Her eyes held the weight of a dying land. She told him of Scar's treachery, of the hyenas, of the starvation. She pleaded with him to return, to take his rightful place as king. But Simba was crippled by guilt and fear. He believed he was responsible for his father's death, a lie Scar had carefully planted in his mind years ago. Refused. You can't change the past, he argued, turning his back not just on Nala, but on his own destiny. Heartbroken, Simba fled into the night, his mind a whirlwind of confusion and shame. It was then that he met Rafiki, the wise and eccentric mandrill who had served his father. Rafiki knew the truth. With his mystical antics and cryptic words, he led Simba to a secluded pool. Look harder, he urged. As Simba stared into his own reflection, the water rippled, and the face of Mufasa appeared, formed from the clouds above. The spirit of the great king spoke with the voice of the heavens, his words thundering through Simba's soul. Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king. In that moment, the weight of his past transformed. It was no longer a burden of guilt, but a mantle of responsibility. The prince had finally remembered the king within. Simba, with Nala, Timon, and Pumbaa by his side, raced back to the Pride Lands. What they found was a scene from a nightmare. The land was skeletal, scorched by fire and neglect, and high on Pride Rock, surrounded by his hyena army, sat Scar. As they arrived, a storm began to brew, and the moon, full and ominous, started to turn a deep, haunting red. The blood moon was rising, as if the very heavens were weeping for the broken land. Serabi, gaunt but unbroken, confronted Scar about the lack of food. Enraged, Scar struck her, a fatal mistake that ignited Simba's fury. He leaped from the shadows, his roar echoing his father's. For a moment, even Scar was stunned, believing Mufasa had returned from the dead. The lionesses, emboldened by their prince's return, rose up. The battle for Pride Rock had begun. Lions against hyenas. A chaotic clash of tooth and claw under the eerie crimson light of the blood moon. While his friends and the lionesses fought valiantly, Simba cornered Scar at the summit of Pride Rock. The storm raged, lightning splitting the sky. Here, amidst the flames and the fury, Scar made his final, desperate gambit. He taunted Simba, whispering the old lie, trying to drive him to the edge, just as he had done to Mufasa. But this was not the frightened cub who ran away. This was a king, pinned and defeated. Scar confessed his ultimate betrayal to the pride. It was I who killed Mufasa. He shrieked. The truth, finally unleashed, shattered Simba's last restraint. The final duel was short and brutal. Simba, remembering his father's wisdom, chose not to kill Scar. He offered mercy, banishing him from the Pride Lands forever. But Scar, ever the traitor, attacked one last time. Simba, with a powerful move, sent him tumbling over the cliff edge, where his supposed allies, the hungry and betrayed hyenas, were waiting. The shadow that had loomed for so long was finally gone. As the last of the flames died down, rain began to fall, washing away the ash and the corruption. It was a baptism for the wounded land. Simba climbed to the peak of Pride Rock, the blood moon now receding, giving way to the gentle light of dawn. He looked out over his kingdom, his family, and let out a roar that shook the plains. It was a roar of sorrow, of victory, and of promise. The other lions roared in response. The king had returned. The circle of life, once broken, could now be mended. The fall of Scar's shadow wasn't just the end of a tyrant, it was the rebirth of a king and his kingdom, all under the watchful eye of the blood moon. Thanks for watching this epic tale unfold with us. If you love stories of courage and destiny, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let us know in the comments what other legendary stories you'd like to see brought to life. See you next time.